Hey guys, it's Ollie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, as you can probably tell, my voice is not fully recovered from being sick. It is almost recovered. I feel fine. I'm not sick anymore. It's just having a bit of a hard time coming back. Also sorry if you end up hearing anything in that room, any chaos, because I'm in my living room craft area and the dogs and cats are in the living room over there and have been playing on and off all morning. So if you hear that, it's them. They are causing chaos in my life. Last Friday I uploaded a video of my ball python Greg getting a huge habitats enclosure. I will put a little card for that in one of these corners if you would like to go back and watch it. But in that video I mentioned that I would be doing a little story time of how I got Greg, kind of her story. We do consider her a rescue situation. Alright, so just full disclaimer right off the bat, Greg is a girl. We named her Greg before we knew she was a girl. She didn't have a name in her previous home. I guess he just called it the snake. I don't know. I just want to put that out there because I know it can be confusing because we're not going to change her name, but she is a girl. I actually wanted a hognose snake. Hognose snakes are my favorite snake, so I really wanted to get one. And occasionally I will go on Craigslist to look for a hognose snake. And this day I went on Craigslist to look for a hognose and I found Greg. Obviously Greg is a ball python. I will show the picture that was on Craigslist here. As you can see from that picture, she wasn't taken care of well at all. It just looked bad, like it looked really dry for a ball python. That was a red flag. All the shed pieces around, obviously a red flag. So we're like, okay, we want to get this snake. I knew how to take care of ball pythons. I had never done it before, but I knew how. So we decided that we would get in contact with this person. Obviously the person ended up saying that they wanted to rehome it. We agreed that I would go pick her up and that would be that. So yeah, on August 9th, 2019, we drove a couple hours and picked up Greg the ball python. Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, I've seen worse, but I've seen better. And just because I've seen worse doesn't justify the neglect at all. Now let me be very clear. He did the right thing. He rehomed the snake as soon as possible and got that taken care of. Like I said, wasn't the worst. Definitely could have declined. And if ball pythons weren't as hardy as they are, I feel like it would have gone much worse. But yeah, never feel like you are failing because you're rehoming your snake after you realize you're unintentionally neglecting them. I don't think this guy was a mean person. I think he cared about Greg. I just don't think by the end he was interested in having Greg and realized that he was kind of neglecting her and decided to rehome her. So that was the right choice. I don't think this person's a bad person. Alright, so when we arrived to pick up Greg, I wasn't really expecting it to be as bad as it was. Like, the picture looked bad. The picture looked like it was bad humidity. But it was a lot worse than that. In the picture of the enclosure, which came with her, it looked like there was heating hooked up. I saw a thermometer in it, like a digital one. The reason that he got rid of Greg is because his girlfriend is terrified of every reptile in existence and would not come in the house with the snake. So, until Greg was rehomed, she stayed in the garage. Now, I live in Indiana. Our temperatures fluctuate so severely and garages aren't the greatest place in the house in the summertime. Now this was August, so here in Indiana, August is either really hot or it's starting to get really cold and rainy. This particular August, I do remember it was pretty hot. especially in the location of Indiana this took place in. But I was like, okay, well, surely that, you know, there's a thermometer in there, so surely he's been monitoring all of that. Nothing was plugged in, no heat source, not that she even would have needed the heat in the garage, so no heat hooked up. When we got in the car after getting Greg, there were no batteries in the thermometer. Like, and he knew this. He told us, like, oh, that thing hasn't worked in ages. I just left it in there. The guy said that the thermometer hadn't worked in years. So that was concerning. There was also no thermostat, which is concerning. So I don't know if maybe it's possible he had a thermostat and then just used it for something else. The substrate was extremely dry and really old. There was poop, urites, and shed, like just broken up shed all over the enclosure. Like, it was everywhere. It was disgusting. When we got home and I was cleaning out the substrate to set up a quarantine enclosure, we found out that the bottom of the enclosure was broken, like to the point where the glass was sticking up, and Greg does have some scarring on her stomach. You can barely see any of it now, but when we first got her, you could see it pretty prominently, that she had scarring on her stomach, probably from going over that glass at some point. And it looked like he tried to like duct tape the bottom. I don't know. Here is a video of that, because I took a video when I found it. So I was cleaning out the enclosure and there's glass all broken here. It's like sticking up, and it looks like the previous owner just tried to duct tape it. So I think that this enclosure is just gonna go in the garbage. So yeah, as you can see, not fantastic, not great, not fun. He also said that she hadn't eaten in about 4 months, which is about the time that he said that he moved her into the garage, so I don't doubt that. But I mean, she ate the first night she came home. She wouldn't tongue feed. She was very nervous, very shy. She still hisses when you pick her up, but once you get her out, she's generally okay. We've never gotten bit by her or even struck at by her, but she's very nervous. For the first month or two, we would actually have to leave the thawed rodent on her hide, and then leave the room and turn the lights out, so she would come out and eat it. She wouldn't come out and eat it unless the lights were out and we were not in the room. And we slowly got worked up to, like, we would have the light on. We slowly accustomed her to us being in the room. Now she tongs feeds, no problem. She is ravenous. So of course, anytime you get a new animal, we took her to the vet to get her checked out, especially because she was in this garage. She was neglected, and I just want to make sure everything was okay. Now, I went to the vet that Clementine, my corn snake, goes to, and I love Clementine's vet a lot, but she does not see ball pythons. They have another vet that sees ball pythons, and I don't like her. We do not go to her anymore. So I'm going to tell you about the bad vet experience, because it did not help at all, and it was honestly a waste of money. This is why. So when we got there, you have to fill out your papers, a new patient. The humidity at the time was around 60, because that seemed to be comfortable, and she was also shedding, so I wanted it on the higher end of the spectrum. And she told me that was wrong. She told me, first of all, she came in with a cheat sheet, and it was a printed page from a Google search. Like, it wasn't even the website the information was on, it was just the Google search. What are temps and humidity for a ball python? And it was just the first result that popped up on Google. So she is the ball python vet for that office, which is why that's concerning to me. I mentioned that she was going into shed. The Google answer, which said 35 to 45% humidity, which is accurate for ball pythons. 40 to 60 is generally the accepted range of humidity for a ball python. Yeah, she said that 60 was way too high, and I was going to cause an RI, and that the highest it should be is 45%. Didn't even argue with her. I was like, I'll look into it, we'll see. I don't remember what she said the heat should be at. honestly. I really don't remember. I remember the humidity thing because I was just like, 45%, are you serious? The other thing is that her assistant was terrified of Greg. Like, she was so scared of snakes, and it's like, why are you here? Who put her in there? Like, I mean, she was like, she did not want to even be near him. She was like by the door the whole time. And it was like, dude, like maybe this isn't an environment she needs to be in. She looks terrified. So they like really were kind of being rough with Greg, but I wasn't gonna say anything. Like, you know, they're the vets, whatever. But it just felt really off. I didn't like it. So during the vet visit, I also brought up, you know, we've only had her for a week. I would like to get a fecal sample done to see, like, you know, check for any parasites. I'd like to just get everything done to make sure she's healthy as can be. And she denied them. She said no, that it was unnecessary. And she seemed to be ignoring the fact that I was telling her I've only had this snake for a week and that she came from neglect. She wouldn't even hear what I had to say about the humidity and the conditions that she was in. Like, she just blew off the entire fact that she was a rescue and that she had been from a neglected household and was kind of just acting like I had had Greg her whole life. Like, she mentioned her weight being on the smaller side, and I mentioned to her, I said, yeah, because I just told you her previous home was neglectful and told us she hasn't eaten for like 4 months, so she may have been dropping a little bit of weight from that. But yeah, she wasn't hearing any of it. I don't know why. It just seemed kind of silly. Like, I was trying to give her information to better the exam, and she just didn't want to hear it, I guess. I told her that she was in shed, and she said, okay, yeah, you know. And then when she was doing like the exam, all she really did was look over her. It was just like a general exam. She was looking over her stomach and asked me if I was using a heat pad. I said no, I was using an over the tank heater. And she said, are you sure you're not using a heat pad because her stomach looks burned? And I looked, and I was like, well, what do you mean? Because I didn't see anything. I'm like, the only thing I see is the scarring that I told you about, you know, was from the glass. And she said no, that it was her whole stomach was like a pink. And I said, yes, she's going into shed. And she was just convinced that she had gotten burned. And then she brought up and I said, no, I use an over-the-tank heater, and the person I got her from was also using an over-the-tank heater. So no, there's no heat rock, there's nothing she would have burned herself on in there at all. And she didn't seem to believe me on that either. She just didn't really seem like she knew what she was talking about, which I feel really pompous saying because I'm not a veterinarian, but it was just really odd. And the thing that made me, like, I think the most mad was we were putting Greg up, and when I go to the vet, I take my snakes in a pillowcase and then put that in like a small container, and that's how I take them. So they were putting her back in the pillowcase. The vet assistant was like holding it open, trying really hard not to touch Greg, and the vet just like drops him into the pillowcase, like here, like the opening, and she just kind of like drops her, and she hit the table, like the exam table. They were holding the bag like over the exam table, and she just kind of like drops Greg in, and Greg like thuds onto the table. I was very mad about that. Because I was like, you are a professional and you just like dropped my animal, like just very carelessly. But yeah, it was a really bad experience. So she is about 7 now, which, you know, isn't too bad. Like, they can live up to their 20s. She is a very nervous snake still. She is much better with people, but she definitely isn't like completely comfortable. And we don't have any intentions to tame her down any more than she already is, because I don't feel a need to. She's kind of here to live out her life and, you know, just be comfortable and relax a little bit after going through that. I feel like If she doesn't want to interact with people, I'm not going to make her interact with people. But yeah, that was all for today's video. I really hope you all enjoyed it. As always, don't forget to give this video a like for the algorithm. Comment your thoughts down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to see more animal content. I post every single Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but you can hit the bell if you don't want to remember that. Down in the description below is a link to my Instagram account if you'd like to go follow me. I do my best to post every single day, and I also do like interactive stuff on my stories and things like that. So if you need to DM me or you have a video idea, anything like that, you can go over to my Instagram and privately message me if you'd like. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!